What if I told you Bugatti can sell a $4 million car, and still struggle to make money from it? It sounds impossible. But Bugatti was never built to make money the way Toyota or Ford does. And the reason this company is willing to spend enormous amounts of money chasing the world's fastest cars reveals one of the most insane business strategies in the luxury industry. Because Bugatti isn't really selling cars. It's selling something much more valuable. Imagine building a car that costs millions of dollars. Not thousands. Not hundreds of thousands. Millions. A Bugatti can cost several $1 million before options, customization, and taxes are even considered. So logically, you would assume Bugatti must be one of the most profitable car companies in the world. But here's the strange part. That assumption can be completely wrong. Because Bugatti doesn't operate like a normal automaker. It doesn't want millions of customers. It doesn't want factories producing thousands of cars every day. And it certainly doesn't want to compete with Toyota, BMW, or Mercedes on price. Instead, Bugatti has built something radically different. A business where extreme scarcity is part of the product. And that strategy starts with one simple question. Why would anyone intentionally build a car so expensive and complicated that making money from the car itself becomes incredibly difficult? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning. Bugatti has one of the most famous names in automotive history. The original company was founded by Ettore Bugatti in 1909. From the beginning, Bugatti wasn't simply about transportation. It was about engineering, performance, design, and prestige. Bugatti cars became famous for racing and technical innovation. But decades later, the modern Bugatti story became something completely different. In the late 1990s, Volkswagen acquired the Bugatti brand. And Volkswagen didn't buy Bugatti because it needed another mass-market automobile brand. Volkswagen already had those. What Bugatti offered was something completely different. Prestige. Engineering credibility. And the ability to build cars that almost nobody else on earth could build. That became the foundation of the modern Bugatti business model. The first problem is simple. Bugatti builds almost no cars. Most automakers depend on scale. Toyota can sell millions of vehicles. Ford can sell millions. BMW can sell millions. The more cars they produce, the more efficiently they can spread development, factory, engineering, and marketing costs across each vehicle. Bugatti works in almost the opposite direction. Its production volumes are tiny. The Chiron, for example, was limited to roughly 500 units. Think about what that means. Imagine spending enormous amounts of money developing advanced engines, transmissions, aerodynamics, materials, testing systems, and manufacturing processes. Then instead of producing hundreds of thousands of vehicles to recover those costs, you produce only a few hundred. That creates an enormous economic problem. Every car has to carry an enormous amount of development cost. And that's before you even build the actual car. Now look at the powertrain. The Bugatti Chiron famously uses an 8.0-liter quad-turbocharged W16 engine. This isn't an engine designed for efficiency. It was designed to produce extraordinary performance. The engineering requirements are extreme. Cooling, turbocharging, transmission, aerodynamics, braking, tires, materials. Everything has to survive forces that ordinary road cars never experience. And that's where the economics become crazy. A normal automaker might design a platform and use it across multiple models. That allows the company to spread development costs across enormous production volumes. Bugatti can't do that in the same way. Its vehicles require specialized engineering and extremely expensive components. So when you buy a Bugatti, you're not just paying for metal, leather, and carbon fiber. You're paying for an enormous amount of engineering that may only be spread across a few hundred customers. Then there's the problem nobody talks about. Bugatti doesn't just have to build the car. It has to test it. And testing an extreme hypercar is incredibly expensive. Imagine designing a vehicle capable of traveling at hundreds of kilometers per hour. Now imagine testing its braking systems, its tires, its aerodynamics, its cooling, its engine durability, its transmission, its high-speed stability, and its crash performance. At these speeds, tiny engineering mistakes can become catastrophic. So Bugatti can't simply build a prototype and send it to customers. The company has to invest enormous resources into making sure the vehicle works under extreme conditions. And those costs don't disappear just because only a few hundred cars are produced. They become part of the economics of every vehicle. So why doesn't Bugatti simply charge more? Bugatti already sells cars for millions. But there is a limit. Because at some point, the customer isn't comparing Bugatti with another car. They're comparing it with private jets, yachts, mansions, art, and other ultra-luxury assets. And that's where Bugatti's strategy becomes psychological. The company isn't simply trying to sell the most expensive car possible. It's trying to make the car feel almost impossible to obtain. Scarcity is the real product. This is one of the most important business lessons behind Bugatti. Scarcity creates value. Imagine Bugatti announced tomorrow that it was going to build 100,000 Chirons. What happens? The car becomes less special. If everyone with enough money can buy one, it's no longer an exclusive symbol. That's why Bugatti limits production. The company isn't fighting to maximize units sold. It's fighting to maximize perceived exclusivity. For a normal company, more supply can mean more revenue. For an ultra-luxury company, too much supply can destroy the brand. And Bugatti understands this extremely well. Bugatti isn't really selling a car. This is the part that changes the entire story. A Bugatti buyer isn't simply buying transportation. They already have transportation. Probably a lot of it. They are buying status, rarity, engineering, heritage, and most importantly, access to something that almost nobody else can own. That's why a Bugatti can cost several $1 million while a normal luxury car might cost $100,000. The customer isn't paying 20 times more because the Bugatti is 20 times better at driving to the supermarket. They're paying for an entirely different product category. But the real business model is bigger than the car. A luxury brand doesn't necessarily need the vehicle itself to generate enormous margins if the brand creates enormous strategic value. Bugatti's existence gives its parent companies something incredibly valuable: brand prestige. Think about the automotive industry. Companies spend billions developing technology and building brands. Bugatti gives a manufacturer the ability to say, "We build one of the most extreme automobiles on earth." That creates technological and marketing value far beyond the number of cars sold. Bugatti becomes a technological showcase. A halo brand. And halo products can influence how consumers perceive an entire company or automotive group. But Bugatti eventually faced another problem. If you only build a few hundred hypercars, how do you build a sustainable business around that? The answer is to expand the ecosystem. Instead of depending exclusively on selling one extremely expensive hypercar, Bugatti can monetize its brand through customization, special editions, limited-run models, lifestyle products, partnerships, licensing, collectibles, and highly personalized customer experiences. And the more powerful the brand becomes, the more valuable these opportunities become. This is the same basic principle behind many luxury businesses. The product creates the brand. The brand creates scarcity. And scarcity creates pricing power. But there's an even bigger secret. The real genius isn't the price. It's the perception. Bugatti has convinced the market that owning one of its cars is not simply about transportation. It's about joining an extremely small club. And when customers believe that something is rare, they often become willing to pay dramatically more for it. That's why luxury companies obsess over limited production, exclusive access, customization, heritage, craftsmanship, and waiting lists. Because the moment a product becomes easy to obtain, its psychological value can collapse. So, does Bugatti literally lose money on every single car it sells? The reality is more complicated than the headline. Bugatti's exact vehicle-level profitability isn't publicly disclosed in a way that lets outsiders confidently calculate a loss on every car. But the economics reveal something much more interesting. Bugatti deliberately operates in a world where extreme engineering costs, tiny production volumes, and enormous development investments make traditional mass-market profitability almost irrelevant. Because Bugatti isn't trying to become the world's biggest car company. It's trying to become one of the world's most valuable automotive names. And that teaches us one of the most powerful lessons in business. You don't always make the most money by selling more. Sometimes, you make more by making people believe they can never have enough. And that's exactly what Bugatti has turned scarcity into. A business model.